that you would take, knowing all that you know?
I think there is. Quite honestly, there's a couple things that I like right now. So we like using the hybrid annuity as a piece of the pie because we can lock.
He is known as a go-to guy for financial advice. Michael Wall, president of Wall Financial Group here in Altoona, has been a guest on national television news programs from Fox Business to CNBC, but his home base is right here in central PA. Michael is from our area, and today he joins us live with some advice on planning for retirement. That's something many of us put off for far too long. Michael Wall, thank you so much for being here.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, why do you think people delay retirement planning?
I think probably one of the reasons initially is just the fear of it all. Sometimes it seems so much bigger than it really is sometimes, and you just don't know where to start. So sometimes when we're unsure and fearful, we don't do anything.
That's true, and I am guilty of that, I have to say. But I do have some questions for you here.
Sure.
When is a good time to start investing, especially in 401k?
Sure, that's a great question. Really the best time to start is as early as possible. I know it kind of sounds maybe cliche-ish, but the reality of it really is. A lot of people in their early 20s, 30s, sometimes it doesn't happen. But I think the biggest thing is really to try and start in a small method, one at a time, once a month, whatever the amount is, whether it's 25, 50, whatever, start with something. And really what you're doing is creating a pattern that you can repeat. And then as you continue to get comfortable with that pattern, then you can up the dollar amounts. But you've created a pattern that you can get comfortable with, and that gets you started.
That's a good idea. So even a little bit.
Even a little bit.
Because a lot of people think you have to have a lot of money to invest.
Exactly. And it's the whole idea of small steps repeated.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So how much should we plan on investing every year?
Well, that's really going to dictate based on each personal situation. Everybody's got different job structure, income structure, etc., expenses, whatever it may be. My big suggestion really is make sure you, number one, get your debt reined in. Make sure you get that under control, really, really important. And then figure out an amount each month that you're going to be able to commit to. Even if it's as small as $10 a month, 25, 50, again, whatever the number is, start with something. If you're making more money and you're in a situation where financially, you kind of have your house in order, then maybe you start at a higher number, 200, 500, whatever that number is a month. But it's got to be right and it's got to work for you. And again, it's got to be something that you're going to be able to continue to repeat.
Yeah.
Because like anything else, if you stop and start, and then start and stop, does that make sense?
Yeah, it's never going to happen.
You want something consistent.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, so are there any other retirement plans that you can get into other than a 401k?
Yeah, there really are. And one of the things that I would suggest is, as far as how much to put in addition, let's say you're in a position where you can put in, kind of a fair amount of money into your 401 each month or whatever. If your company, whatever company that you work for, does offer a 401k and they do match anything that you put in, it's kind of like free money.
Yeah.
We just had Halloween, all the kids running around getting free candy in the neighborhood. Everybody loves free stuff, right?
Right, of course.
So one of the things with this is, if the employer is going to give you free money, you definitely want to put as much in for them to match that. Other than that, if you don't have any kind of a match, sometimes it might be advantageous to look elsewhere, maybe to like an individual Roth IRA, where you can put your money, you can start it on your own. It's really not as hard as people think, and now what happens is your interest grows every year tax-free. So now you have tax-free income in the future, as opposed to in a 401k, you're going to pay tax on that money whenever you take it out. But again, the key is starting.
Yeah, you have to start somewhere, right? Okay, so there have to be a couple of maybe tips that maybe you can have for people to start investing. How do you get started?
Yeah, I think first thing is, if you're married, get your spouse. If you're not married, you don't have a spouse, so no need to worry there. But sit down, take some time. Sometimes we think putting a budget together and oh my goodness, it's like pulling teeth, But we really need to make sure that we're in charge of our own destiny and in our future. And if we're in a situation financially and down the road where we're not prepared, guess what? It's ourselves to blame. So really what we need to do is take some time, maybe it's 30 minutes, schedule it out, carve it out, write it down, put it in a calendar, and take that time and just kind of go over your financial situation. And then from there, figure out how much a month you feel comfortable investing. And then the next step is start doing some research, whether it be making phone calls to professionals or whatever it may be, to help you along the path of where to go.
Okay. So if people are retired, they have a 401k, should they leave it there, take it out? So what are the benefits, disadvantages?
That's a good question. And as you may or may not be aware, a lot of the folks we work with are generally a little bit older. One of the things that I generally recommend, especially with 401ks, because a lot of times there's a lot of hidden costs and fees, and that's why I said about the matching earlier. earlier, and if they
Sure.
don't, other sources. But a lot of hidden things. My suggestion is anytime you have a 401k and you're older, you definitely want to roll it. And the reason is because now you have the availability of all kinds of options. Whereas inside of a 401k, you're kind of limited. You only have maybe this choice or that choice to invest in. When you roll it, now what happens is you have a lot of options. You also can do some advanced tax planning and things like that, which we do a lot of with clients. So really important in my opinion. If you're older, you're there, your money's still just sitting, you don't know what to do, absolutely rolling it's a good idea. To where, you want to make sure you know where and why, but rolling's a good idea.
All right, good. Well, people can go to you for advice. It's Michael Wall from the Wall Financial Group. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate that. Very, very informative.